What's up, YouTubers? It's Ernie, Blerd Without Fear, and a lot of craziness has been going on. Those of you who watch my Black Lightning episode review videos, you probably saw that I was talking about how I was moving, so in the process of that, and we may or may not get this video out on time, but just so you know, that's what's going on. So I wasn't just pushing Doomsday clock off because reasons. It's just I had no blurred cave to work out of literally until last night around 2 a.m. 3 a.m. something like that. But anyways, we got Doomsday clock number 4, and man, whew, it's a doozy. But this issue is 110% Rorschach, the new Rorschach's origin. We get a lot of confirmations on some fan theories and even get some deeper insight into why this new Rorschach is the way that he is. So this video is going to be a little different from previous Doomsday Clock videos as a result, but I think this is still going to be a pretty fun thing to talk about. First things first, this book bounces back and forth between Reggie being in Arkham thanks to Batman and his encounters with the psychiatrist Dr. Matthew Mason, and his original stint in a mental institution back on his world following the alien invaders' attack in original recipe Watchmen. The big thing here is that we learn that, yes, Reggie Long is the son of Dr. Malcolm Long, the original Rorschach's psychiatrist during his time in prison. I know originally I speculated that he was Malcolm Long, but I also was open to him being the son of Dr. Long. It just made sense. A lot of people in the comments seemed against the idea of it being his son because they felt his son wouldn't be old enough, but turns out that's not the case, and he's not talking or acting like Rorschach because of the journal so much as because of his encounter with the alien invader that Veidt and Dr. Manhattan unleashed on Times Square that turned his mind into scrambled eggs with extreme aggression. With nowhere to go, Rorschach was just a way to channel it. Also, I'm pretty sure Reggie bit Zebra Man's dick off in Arkham. Not important to the plot, but just saying. Also, just want to point out all the heavy hitters and no-namers they have in one of the panels from showcasing Reggie being in Arkham Asylum. I mean, we see the ventriloquist, Professor Milo. You gotta check for the bowl cut because he's kind of hiding behind another person. There's a Maxie Zeus, of course, Zebra Man, and I'm pretty sure that Scarecrow in the glass is just in front of Reggie, not the Riddler. And Mr. Zaz, almost off the panel, but neither here nor there. I just thought it was something fun to point out. And we get even more information about what actually happened when the invaders showed up. A lot of people just assumed anyone in Times Square was slaughtered, but that's not the case. Reggie tells us that those that died were probably the lucky ones. Those who just so much as laid eyes on the invader and survived went insane, many of them gouging their own eyes out, even going on to say that one man severed his own legs to be more like the creature, and a pregnant woman cut out her own unborn baby, thinking that it was eating her from the inside. The invader didn't just murder a ton of people, it caused an overwhelming wave of people being admitted to mental institutions, including Reggie. Reggie himself seemed like a normal enough kid. I can identify with him if for no other reason than when he was a kid, he got bullied a lot and never thought to fight back, being bullied because he was an easy target. Something I dealt with a lot until I was in high school and started standing up for myself. He defines himself as a good kid who didn't argue, wasn't in any trouble, had average grades, no close friends, and bad with girls. Also, no social life. That was me to a T back in those days. It's sad, but true. There's also some stuff going on with his parents, which isn't news because this was brought up in original recipe Watchmen. The fact that they're having marital woes and going through divorce. These were all things that were talked about in Watchmen. So I'm not going to go over it here because it's just rehash. What brings this book closer to being the Watchmen of old is when Reggie, during his stay in the mental facility after the invaders' attack, meets Byron Lewis, the Mothman, one of the original Minutemen, the precursor to the Watchmen. butt-ass naked on a rooftop with some makeshift wings, likely made from bed sheets. And he's left in awe when he sees that this man can actually fly using those wings. Not only that, he has a new friend. Reggie and Mothman become incredibly close, becoming confidants even. Byron helps Reggie learn the trick to getting out of their current predicament. He tells him that you see what you want to see. Instead of fighting back and going against the mental conditioning and evaluations they're forced to go through, see what you want to see. And he does. Seeing what you want to see. Reggie ends up taking this idea to heart. This is when Reggie starts training with Byron in the Minutemen style, teaching him how to fight. And he starts religiously reading his father's notes on Walter Kovacs, the original Rorschach. Thanks to Byron taking time to get Dr. Long's personal effects for Reggie during one of his butt-naked Mothman night flying routines. This is when he discovers the truth, and he even attempts to escape the mental institution using a fire as distraction. But when Byron is running away with him, looking back at the inferno that used to be the mental institution, much like his namesake, he runs back into the flames. Wings and all. Something he pretty much planned, since we find out that he left a note basically saying he didn't have it in him to go with him on this journey, and that he wanted Reggie to remember him at his best and funniest, like when they first met on that rooftop, ass out and everything. But his parting words remind him of the lesson Mothman taught him since day one. What you see is all that matters. And it's here that inside the envelope Byron left for him is Rorschach's mask. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people just kind of assume this kid just came along, stole Rorschach's identity. That wasn't necessarily the case. It wasn't really Mothman's place to pass down Rorschach's legacy, but I mean, who better to pass it on than someone who was one of the original Minutemen? A lot of you have also asked, how the hell does he team up with Veidt, knowing everything he knows? He didn't. Not at first. He tried to kill him. He went to the Antarctic, to Veidt's base. The only thing that stopped him is when he realized Veidt wanted to die. Because not only is he dying anyway from the tumor in his brain, but he also realized, a little too late, that what he did, working with Dr. Manhattan, creating the alien invader creature, that was legitimately wrong. Before we jump out of here, I got 2 bombshells left to drop on you. First bomb. There's been a woman trying to get Reggie's attention off and on since the book starts, while he's in his Arkham cell, a Jane Doe. Because they've been referring to him as John Doe. So they kind of have a little bit of a connection. But she's not really a Jane Doe. She's Saturn Girl, a member of the Legion of Superheroes, who's been institutionalized in Arkham since the DC Rebirth one-shot, because no one believes she's from the 30th century. And she's been using her telepathic powers, probing Reggie's mind, and she knows he plays a bigger part in all of this than even he may realize. And she opens up his cell. And it's at this point we start seeing a mosquito heading towards a bug zapper, kind of like we did earlier in the book. And if this is foreshadowing, and I'm certain it is, because this whole time Saturn Girl had this really bright blue light shining off of her that originally I thought was the bug zapper, but it was just way too bright, especially when the door opens. I'm pretty sure that blue light shining off of her is Dr. Manhattan. And the bug I mentioned a second ago is flying into the zapper, causing a puff of smoke eerily in the shape of Manhattan's logo as it falls dead to the ground. Second bombshell. The psychiatrist working with Reggie, Dr. Matthew Mason, was Batman. And apparently, Batman didn't just drop him off in Arkham and leave him to rot. He was studying Reggie on his own time and trying to piece together the insanity of the journal of Walter Kovacs. He knows he's crazy, but Batman, I believe, knows he's on to something. But with Reggie in the wind, with Saturn Girl, and Reggie knowing Batman's secret identity, Batman now has to put investigation mode on pause and get out there and hunt Reggie down, not just to protect his own identity, but to get to the truth of what's going on. So that wraps up Doomsday Clock number 4. Once again, this is an issue probably so much closer of any of the issues that have come so far. This is probably the closest to being like original recipe Watchmen, because each of Watchmen's 12 issues took time to focus on a particular character, for the most part, except for maybe the first 2 issues maybe. But there were points where they spent whole swaths of time focusing on one character. And this was almost exactly that. We learned a lot about Reggie, who I was almost kind of hoping we would have gotten more into the mime and the marionette. But honestly, Rorschach is a major part of Doomsday Clock. He's a major player in it, and you know, whether people like it or not, it is what it is. That being said, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I think issue number 5 is when we're going to see what the fate of the mime and the marionette are, now that we know they've been looking for the Joker and the Joker has clearly been following. But anyways, we got a ways to wait because they're releasing Doomsday Clock every other month. So now that this book has come out at the end of March, we won't see what happens next, Doomsday Clock number 5, until the end of May. Just in case anyone's curious, because a lot of y'all ask me in the comments all the time, but I'm saying it right here. Let me know what you thought about Doomsday Clock number 4 and the origin of the new Rorschach, Reggie Long. Sound off in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Thank you so much for watching this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Plus Ultra!